What was the real attraction to CPG of all the things? I mean, because you grew up in restaurants.
I was raised to do my own thing. I could never work for somebody else, and it's who I am. So I just exited Spudsy in October of 2024. Today I'm the CEO of Sprinkles CPG, and that's how I got there. Is at the end of the day, these people you're selling the product to, they believe in you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's brokers, right? Middlemen you can work with to help you get into these retailers. But every single brand that I've been in, like I physically walked into the door and met with all of these buyers and sold them on my product, because who's going to do it better than the founder of the company?
Sure.
Like, no one has more passion than you.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like having a strong, like sales at least background is huge.
Yeah.
Because everything else you can hire. You can hire somebody to manage your operations. You can hire, but like having like the passion and the fire is like everything.
Welcome to the show, Ashley.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. I'm so excited. We've got to meet virtually and then telephonically and plan this thing, and here we finally get to do it in person.
I know, I'm excited.
I'm actually really excited because it's not too often I get to have a cool conversation with like somebody who for their entire life has basically been an entrepreneur and grew up with that entrepreneurial spirit. It's usually someone who fell into it, like myself, ass backwards, and had no idea that this was where they wanted to end up or ended up. And so I can't wait to pull all that out, because you have such a unique perspective, and your husband's an entrepreneur. Everything that I've ever learned about you so far comes with that whole spirit. So this is going to be really good for the audience and myself to just get into that background a little bit and figure out what has made Ashley such a badass killer in this whole world. And the fact that you still do it with that passion, because entrepreneurship, as a lot of us know, is a tiring climb.
And I've definitely worn down a little bit, but I'm still going. I'm still going strong.
Not to mention a mom of 2 young daughters. So you're also doing it at a time in life where you're probably not getting too much sleep.
Yeah, well, my kids sleep through the night, thank God, but
Okay, then now we're going to also get some parenting advice out here, because how are you doing that?
Cry it out method.
What method?
When you put them in their room, you let them cry it out, and then they learn to go to sleep on their own. But my kids are 2 and 4, so I sleep now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But did you when they were 6 months and?
No. Right. Yeah. Right. No, I didn't.
Well, I think first and foremost, I want to understand, because you grew up in an entrepreneurial home with a father who was an entrepreneur, and I'm a little bit older than you, but that in our era of childhood, that wasn't normal. That wasn't a career that anyone ever mentioned. It was never like career day. Oh, I'm an entrepreneur. That word, I'd never heard until post
social media,
basically. Yeah. Or mid 2000s.
Yeah.
2005. I was like, what?
Then it was the cool thing to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how was that? I mean, what was your experience? Was it something that you were aware of as a child growing up? Like, did your father instill that? Or was it more like all of us, my dad does this, and it was...
Yeah. So, I mean, I was raised by an entrepreneur. My dad owned a chain of like 50 bars in Las Vegas called PT's Pub. So I always went with him to the restaurants. I worked in one. He hated having me as an employee. But I just grew up like with an entrepreneur dad. But I do feel like my opinion of entrepreneurship is like it's either instilled and ingrained in you and you're an entrepreneur, or you're not. Mm-hmm. That's my personal opinion of entrepreneurship. And like it's just in my blood. Like I was raised to do my own thing. I could never work for somebody else, and it's who I am.
But when you say that, what does that mean, that you couldn't work for someone else? Because I think people hear that and they either think, oh, you must be a pain in the ass, or, oh, your vision is so strong and you can't tolerate the slow pace of corporate America, bureaucracy. Yeah. Because I say that too, but I always meant it in the sense of I have a vision or a goal or a dream, and I just don't want to be held back. But it comes across sometimes when I say that as, oh, you must be a real pain in the ass.
Well, you probably are a little pain in the ass.
For sure I am.
Okay, well, so am I. I'm definitely a little pain in the ass. But I guess I just believe in myself and my vision and my work ethic and my passion like so much that it's like, why would I spend my time working for somebody else, making somebody else money and building somebody else's dream when I could be building my own?
But now how do you recruit talent to work with you and for you in that same vein, right?
It's very hard for me, actually. Okay. It's very hard for me because my standards are so high and my expectations are so high. And I do feel like it's really hard nowadays to find people that have a strong work ethic. I feel like a lot of people are lazy or they're distracted or I don't know, like it's hard. But like once you find those people, and I do have those people that work for me, and it took me a long time to find my people. I now want to just take them and bring them everywhere with me.
Sure. Would you kind of classify entrepreneurship as a mindset as opposed to a profession? Like, can I not be an entrepreneur and work for you if I approach my job with you with an entrepreneurial spirit, mindset, and solve problems in the same way, but in the ecosystem of your company?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mindset, but I would say that everyone that works for me does have like an entrepreneurial mindset. And if they did not have that, then they probably won't be the best fit for working for somebody like you or me.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, because I mean, I agree, because I don't think everybody is meant to start a company from the ground up and be a founder, CEO, and have to do it all.
Yes.
But I do believe that there are phenomenally, and half my staff at least, are entrepreneurial driven and minded.
Yeah.
But they can work inside the environment.
They have to be able to figure it out.
Yes.
They have to be able to figure it out. They have to be able to see things and be like, oh, you're doing it this way. You should do it this way.
Yes.
And like, to me, that's like the entrepreneurial mindset.
Because if you have and you may agree or disagree, but if you have a brilliance in a specific area, creative, branding, operations, sales, that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to oversee a company. There are different things to run a company.
For sure.
And so I think that I love the word entrepreneurship, and I'm pushing that narrative that you just said, how you said it's kind of, it become glorified with social media.
Yep.
Right? But it's not meant for everybody. And I think it is meant for people, but not always to start a company.
Yes.
Because I get asked all the time,
I agree with that.
Should I start my own company? I want to be an entrepreneur. It's like, hold on.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them don't realize that they don't want to be an entrepreneur until they try to go do it.
Right?
But let them go do it.
Yeah. It's it's like trying to explain parenthood to someone who's never been a parent. It's like, I can tell you, but you'll experience it.
Yeah. But I would say everyone like within my like ecosystem, they are entrepreneurs in their own way. They're just not, what's the word for like the you and I, like the visionary, the leader, the business owner of entrepreneurship, but they all are entrepreneurs.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So before we get to all the cool stuff we're working on, you barely graduated high school.
Barely graduated high school.
I mean, being in a family with 50 bars in Las Vegas, I mean, okay, makes some sense.
Yeah, I was a little reckless in high school. Barely graduated. Didn't go to college. Yeah.
And so what was that first, okay, you're an adult. Boom. Now what?
Yeah. So I went through a really reckless time in my life. I got all the crazy stuff out of me from like 15 to 18. So once I turned 18, I wanted to travel. I had saved up money from like doing my jobs. I traveled the world. I went to Europe for 30 days. And at that time, I was like, I'm never going to work for anyone else. And I'm going to go home and I'm going to start my own thing. And
that's a lot of moxie for an 18-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, side note, how grateful are you that there wasn't smartphones with cameras when you were 15 to 18?
I know.
Could you imagine?
It's wild.
Oh my gosh.
No, I can't imagine.
We would not be sitting here today.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine.
Everything's documented today.
Yeah.
You can't do those stupid, reckless teenager things we used to do.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom.
I know. It's wild.
Right? So you go to Europe.
Yep.
You come home and I just want to work for myself. But was it the idea of working for yourself, or was it that you had some company mission, objective thing that you saw, opportunity, problem that you were like, hey, there's a better way? Famous Shark Tank line.
I've never really said this before, but I'm curious, like your opinion after I tell you this.
Sure.
I just always knew that like this was gonna be me, like I remember driving through, I grew up very fortunate. So like I remember traveling and growing up and driving through neighborhoods of multi-million-dollar houses and just being like, I know I'm going to have that one day. I always had that mentality like within my head is like, that's already mine. Like, I know I'm going to have all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think that like growing up the way that I did, there's like really one or two paths you could take. You can turn out to be a total shithead loser where your parents like end up supporting you your whole life, or it can motivate you to like want to be this person. And that luckily is the path that I took.
But there had to be a trigger, because that person as an adult, you didn't do in high school with the other things. So it was clearly that when you wanted to do it, you did it.
Yeah.
But there was not. So was it the money? Was it like, hey, now I'm an adult, so what I go and do, put my heart and soul into is going to generate this? Like, were you attracted to like you said, the multi-million-dollar, like did cash, was that the driver to young Ashley?
It's funny. Young Ashley, yes.
Yes.
It
18-year-old
was.
Ashley.
18-year-old Ashley, yes. But me now, it's more like, I mean, I'm 36. I just turned 36.
Happy
so
birthday.
it's more like, I mean, happiness, your family, but like still like living this lifestyle and doing the things that I love and that I'm passionate about, like come first before anything.
Sure.
Like, but because of the person that I am, like money comes along with it because I'm a motivated person and I'm doing all these things that I love and I'm building these businesses that I love building.
And it's I mean, look, truthfully, I say the same thing. I mean, 18-year-old Jeff, all money.
Yeah.
Whatever I have to do, let's go make a ton of money.
Yeah.
40, almost 2-year-old Jeff,
Yep.
the money is just the score. Like I want a lot of
sure.
it because it gives me options, but I have everything I reasonably want. Like I'm not in a position where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm driven for more money.
Yeah.
I want legacy. I want to sign my name on my.
You want to do things you love. You
Yes.
want to be surrounded by people that you want to work
I want to
with.
inspire my kids. I want to leave my mark on the world.
Yes.
I want to do and put
Yeah.
my time in things and dominate and win.
But I mean,
Money
feel
comes
like,
with it, though.
Yeah. And I feel like that's 18-year-olds today. Like they want to drive freaking Lamborghinis and whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it is, you realize like the perception versus the reality, I would say like into your 30s is when it starts clicking, right?
And when you actually start getting that thing you were hunting, when
Yeah.
you start making money. I remember if you had told me at 18, how are you going to feel when you make $1 million? I was like, I'm going to be on
Yeah.
cloud nine. And then you make $1 million and you're like, oh, wow.
Well, I'm sure you suffer from the same disease that I do, which is like nothing's ever good enough or like you're always going to want more, right?
Yes.
So I feel like
Was my wife talking to you?
it takes like you have to realize that, you have to recognize that, and like because if not, I feel like it can go like a detrimental path. But like if you realize like nothing's ever going to make me happy and I'm always going to want more, I don't care what I have, nothing's ever going to make me happy. I'm always going to want more. But I've learned to like be a happy person, and I've learned to be content and grateful and all of these things, like, you know.
Absolutely. And
But if you're not that, then you're like kind of fucked. That's where you see a lot of the most successful people I've met, millionaires, billionaires, are the most miserable people I've ever met. Mm-hmm. And I think that you need to realize like that's not who you want to be. And
well, I think because they're tying their happiness to this thing and it didn't give that to them. So it didn't fulfill their cup. They thought, like I did, oh, when I'm a millionaire, my cup will be full. Then you become a millionaire and you have the same problems, same feelings, same emotions, same challenges, except your
have
purpose
money.
is gone now.
Yeah.
That thing, that North Star that kept me moving through the storm has been achieved.
Yeah.
So if you don't pick another one, and so what I learned to fall in love with and realize is I actually love the journey and process.
same.
I don't really care about the destination because once I get there, it's like, okay, now start over.
Well,
What's
and
next?
you know you're going to get there.
I do.
Yeah.
And it sounds cocky for us to say that. And I think it's important for everyone to realize when you get to the point where it's not cocky, it's confidence, and it's confidence because you have
For
a
sure.
formula and a proven path to do it. And you know that if I do these things, it's 2 + 2 is 4.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me a mathematician wizard because I can tell you with certainty that 2 + 2 is 4. Mm-hmm. It's just math.
Yep.
It's science. And so if you have a formula and a process and the character traits and devote the energy, it's when, not if, you will get to that destination.
For sure.
And so
Passion and work ethic. Those were like probably my two. Persistence. Those are like my 3 words that I like live by.
passion, persistence,
And work ethic.
and
A strong work ethic.
I love those
Yeah.
3. And you know, those are, what do they say? Show me your habits and I'll show you. I don't need to see your results. Just show me your habits and I'll be able to predict them, right?
Yeah.
Because hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Talented people who work hard are unstoppable.
Yep.
Most people quit. Most people won't go the full distance. And so if you do, you kind of don't have to be great. You just have to be consistent.
Yeah. I think that's another thing too, is like having thick skin, because like you hear no so much. So like being able, like that word doesn't really affect me.
Does it excite you a little bit?
It just drives me more.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you're telling me no, like I'm going to figure out for a way for you to tell me yes. And like you figure it out. At the end of the day, like I don't care if you're Donald Trump sitting next to me, like I'm going to talk to you the same exact way as I'm talking to Jeff.
Yes. Well, that's one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was treat your friends like your boss and your boss like your friends. And that applies to investors or whoever.
For sure.
Because when you do, you actually build that real rapport.
Well, and like,
And you're just a person. You put on your pants the same way everyone else does.
Yeah.
You know?
and
So-
I hate coming off like inauthentic. I feel like in not being authentic, like I would never invest in somebody that wasn't authentic or like acted fake or put on a voice because they're, you know what I'm saying? Like,
course.
I think that's very important as well.
And for those who are trying to raise capital, most investors bet on the jockey anyway. Your idea, as great as it may be, people think their idea is everything. Oh, I can't sign an NDA before I tell you my multi-trillion-dollar idea.
I honestly don't even make people sign NDAs because I'm like, I'll tell you my idea because I know you're going to have to go execute and you're not going to execute it in the way that I'm going to execute it in.
If I could be Ashley better than you, then I deserve to be number one and I'll be number two. Right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm the same. I mean, I think it's important for young entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, business owners to realize that you don't have to expose all your ideas to everybody, but it's not your idea. It's you. And that's why Ashley's been, you know, so your first real company that you started, was it the protein cookie?
So my first real company, when I got back from Europe, I guess I did have one more job. I worked as a cocktail server at the Hard Rock Hotel.
Okay. The one that's gone now, but in Vegas?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember the pool party rehab.
Sure, of course.
Okay, well, I was a bikini cocktail server at rehab.
Okay.
Made a bunch of friends in the industry, all these girls that ate clean, healthy, worked out, right?
The Everbowl eaters.
Yeah, I did. Everbowl eaters. There you go.
Yes,
yeah.
There we go.
I did not want to do that any longer, obviously.
It became the Virgin Hotel.
What was that?
Hard Rock, that original Hard Rock became the Virgin Hotel, right?
I'm not sure.
I think it did.
Okay.
Recently, and now the Hard Rock is now.
I know it shut down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we actually had Everbowl. For 2 years, Everbowl was at the Virgin Pool Party, which used to be rehab.
Oh, awesome. Well, there we go.
Yeah, look at that. We're connected.
Yeah. Didn't want to do that anymore. So I started a meal prep company.
Okay.
And this is before meal prepping was cool. Like it wasn't even a thing.
How did you come up with meal prep then?
Because I did bikini fitness competitions. I ate clean, I worked out, and I prepped my own food.
Okay.
And I'd bring it in, and these girls were like, well, you make meals for me, I'll pay you. So that's kind of how it started. Quit Hard Rock, started a meal prep company. It was called LV Lean Box. Ended up making meals for like hundreds of these girls. Long story short, I sold the meal prep company to one of my clients, and I wanted to get out of Vegas. At this time, I was like 22, 23. Moved to California. California was always a second home to me. And then that's when I started the protein cookie company, my first business in 2014 called Buff Bake. That was like, turned it into a nationally distributed brand. We were in probably 5,000 stores, like GNC, Vitamin Shop, 24-Hour Fitness. I call that my college experience because I didn't go to college, but it taught me everything that I knew about sales, marketing, working with a manufacturer, creating a product, logistics, just like how to do working with partners, business partners, which could be a whole nother podcast.
But I think I want to dig a little deeper because back then, and I don't mean to date you, but you already told your age.
36.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, so I know it, 14 years ago.
2020 or 2014.
Yeah. Oh, 11 years ago?
11 years ago.
It wasn't as easy to... Today I can Google co-packer. I can Google how to do a co-packing company and a CPG brand. I can Google a lot of things. I could probably Google how to build a nuclear warhead and get close.
Yep.
Back then, it wasn't as part of society. And not all the distributors and not all of the people you needed to know to create a packaged product, then get it disseminated across the country was readily available. There wasn't masterminds or courses or
there still isn't.
Communities. Well, we're going to get to that. I'm teeing some things up, Ashley. There wasn't communities around these things. And so while you had access to this litany of information online, it wasn't part of our DNA yet. We hadn't learned how to do that. How did you, you'd never done that. You had worked in restaurants. You had started your own company in a region, Las Vegas, but now you're building this protein cookie that is going to need to be on shelves or sold direct to consumer, shipped and packed around the country, have shelf life and follow, guidelines with nutrition panels and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How did you even begin? Because that is where most people stall out. Oh my gosh, I have no idea how to do anything.
Yeah. So, Google did exist then. So I Googled a lot of stuff. But another tactic I did, I was like, okay, who else is doing this? Who else is doing what I want to do and I need to talk to them? Okay. So I got a hold of all those people. And I was lucky. Like people just looked at me as like, oh, this cute little girl wants to start her protein cookie company. Let me give her some advice. And One person led to another person, and that led me to my manufacturer, who was my partner. And then
from the beginning, or you met them and then worked a partnership out for them to be your manufacturer?
I worked a partnership out with them from an introduction from another protein cookie, it wasn't protein, another cookie manufacturer who ended up making my product. It just so happened they were in Las Vegas too. But I had lived here then, we worked out a deal. So they became my partner, and then we were doing farmers markets around Orange County. And then I met some of my business partners through that invested money into the company. And then, so then I had my partners that were in the company with me running the business. I had my manufacturing partner, and then it was time to sell. So we actually, 2014 was like, I don't know if you remember, like Instagram blowing up at that time.
Yeah.
I remember we would work with an influencer who wasn't even an influencer back then. It was just somebody posting their stuff. And when they posted, we would get thousands of dollars worth of orders. Just like the conversion rate was so high because it was so new.
Like TikTok shops has been this last 2 years kind of a thing?
Yeah. And then...
or market, whatever it is.
Yeah.
God, I'm old.
I know nothing about TikTok either. It's not even on my phone. But then Vitamin Shop found us on Instagram. So that was the first retailer that kind of opened the doors. And then once you get into one of these retailers, the other ones just organically find you and reach out to you. And that was kind of the snowball effect of Buff Bake.
I mean, that's really cool, especially Google did exist, but what I meant was it wasn't like today where it's just in my pocket on my phone.
ChatGPT and they'll freaking give you a list.
It was, oh wait, how am I going to do this? And then you're not really sure, and you don't even know what to ask. And it's just, we were learning how to use Google in life. Yes, it was around, but it wasn't as prevalent. But I will also say, what do you think was the biggest, looking back, what was the biggest, I hate the word mistake because I don't want to call it that, but what do you think the biggest learning you had just at entrepreneurship or starting your company? Because you figured it out. You showed those three components that you said mean the most to you, right? That the work ethic, the persistence, you figured it all out. That was inevitable, but now you did it and you're like, okay, if I had to do it again, which you've done multiple times, you had to take something from it. Was there some glaring thing, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this?
I feel like for me, there's really not one specific thing that stands out to me. I think for me, I was just so green. I didn't know anything, So everything to me was a learning lesson. Every single thing I did was a learning lesson because I didn't know how to do anything before that. So going through those no's and working your way through the process, they were all learning lessons that then gave me the knowledge and led me to my next thing, which was Spudsy. And that's like the company that I did on my own with all of these learning lessons. Like, I'm thankful for Buff Bake.
Yeah.
Because to me, I'm the only one that got out of the company with $1, but in my eyes, it was a failure because I exited it. I exited it, but I exited it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
I like that word. Exited it.
Yeah. I left Buff Bake to start my own thing, but to me, it was a failure. Like today, it's not around. 2 years after I left, it shut down. So I think everything was kind of a learning lesson for me, and you're just green in your first business. And I feel like, to me, we can talk about college and real world experience, but real world experience is everything to me. And having those learning lessons, you need those to be able to succeed and know how to do the next thing, right?
Yes. Well, it's funny because I have a daughter in college, and there's this show Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, I love that show.
He has this little 40-second clip on what college is. It was the best. It was the most articulated, the best articulated perspective on college I've ever heard. But college is adulting. It's like the transition from kid to adult. If you can afford to send your kid, or your kid can afford to go, it's an environment where they don't yet have to be an adult, but they get to be an adult, and it's like that training wheels for adulthood, where you learn things, you get exposure, you build relationships. It's fantastic. However, it's not necessary because world experience is where, you don't learn how to do anything meaningful in college. You learn when you go to the workforce.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
but
I agree.
You should mature, because I know me at 18 probably wasn't ready to be a true adult, which you had to be at 18.
Yeah.
I might not be here today if I didn't go college and be more
my
reckless.
Little brother went to college, and it was the best decision that he ever made. He has lifelong friends, so there's definitely pros and cons to it.
Sure.
But
it doesn't teach you.
Yeah, even when you go to college, people get out of college and like, what do I do next? Like, they don't know, because in a way you're still kind of being babysat.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's like summer camp for adulting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the transition.
It's those real life experiences where you experience like failure and you experience like doing it, you know, and figuring it out.
I've heard, again, this is not, I didn't come up with this, but I heard it was it's like school, right? In childhood, you learn the lesson and then you take a test, like college. The second you're an adult, you get the test and then you learn the lesson.
Yeah.
And so everything is flipped backwards.
Yeah.
And so you don't get to, I have to study for this life test that's coming. No, you figure out that you failed the damn thing and then you go, why did I fail and how do I never do that again?
For sure.
And so that's that big chasm shift.
Yep.
And then entrepreneurship is that on steroids. And so when you left
Buff Bake.
I was going to say, for some reason, because Baked Bear it's like the company Baked Bear. I was like,
two B's.
I know, Buff Baked. And you launched Spudsy. You stayed in that arena. Like you fell in love. Obviously, you've always been into CPG, food, restaurant, bar, pool party, hospitality, and product service area.
Yeah.
What was did you already have a vision for Spudsy, or how did because you started a cookie company?
Yeah.
Which I kind of probably get. You probably in your bikini modeling days and fit days, you probably liked cookies but couldn't have them because they weren't as good for you, so you had to find an alternative. Like I can see that journey.
Yeah.
Was Spudsy always in your brain, or how did you get your inspiration for Spudsy, and what was the driving force that said, okay, I see it. This is what I want to do now? So
I believe in innovation. Like I think first to market wins, like with an innovative product. I really do. If you market it the right way and you have the right funding to put behind it, like innovation's everything to me. So I started Spudsy because no one was creating a brand that revolved around sweet potatoes. And I saw other brands popping up that revolved around like broccoli or chickpeas or cauliflower, and none of that resonated with me. So I started a sweet potato puff fry brand called Spudsy. I kind of found a white space in the market, and that was it.
But were you hunting for a business, or that's what I'm trying to, I guess I didn't ask it very well. Were you hunting for a business to do, or was that something like, I started everyone because I used to eat acai bowls forever and there weren't any.
I'm always thinking ahead, like what am I going to do next? And I'm like always in the background, like working on my next thing. So
Yeah.
So yes, I was. And then it was easy.
And you loved sweet potatoes?
I love sweet potatoes. And I was already in food and bev. It was easy for me to stay in food and bev, right? So that was the next idea, was this Spudsy sweet potato brand.
Sure. Okay, so then we launched Spudsy. And then it was quite the ride.
Yeah, quite the ride. I was in it so I just exited Spudsy in October of 2024. So I was in it for about 6 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 20,000 doors. We got in when I left, or we're in 20,000 doors now. And again, a lot of learning lessons. The thing that I learned in Spudsy that I did not learn in Buff Bake is I raised a lot of money from PE funds. So that was like a new learning lesson, just wrapping my head around how that money raising process works. Got more distribution. And then, so when I was in Spudsy, I raised about $9 million from a group called Carp Riley. They're my PE partners. And they also own Sprinkles Cupcakes. So I guess I'll fast forward a little bit and then we can go back. Yeah. But that's how I'm the CEO of Sprinkles CPG. And that's how I got there, is my Carp Riley, my investors in Spudsy, own Sprinkles Cupcakes. So they basically pulled me from Spudsy and put me into Sprinkles.
And I've had a lot of experience with private equity, and Carp Riley is actually one of the top private equity
I love them.
Groups.
They're great.
Not all private equity treats their founders and their people as kindly and in the best interest. And I don't have any investments with Carp Riley, I never have, but everyone I know who has dealt with them, and I've met a few of the principals there and had some great conversations. They are awesome, which is a kudos to you.
Yes, they're amazing.
They're also very smart and sophisticated. And the fact that they wanted to partner with you says a lot, not only about the brand Spudsy, but you as a human.
Well, thank you.
So a true.
Yeah.
If I was wearing my proverbial hat, nod, because I had a bunch of private equity involved in me, and I've had some great ones, I've had some bad ones, and I know.
I've heard horror stories. I mean, luckily they're the only partners that I've ever had, and they've been supportive of everything that I've kind of done up until this point.
And a testament to the fact that you're still engaged with them post Spudsy exit.
Yeah, it's been going on 6-year relationship.
What led you to the whole? Because so most people know the retail brand Sprinkles.
Yes.
Right? Sprinkles Cupcakes.
Yep.
Sprinkles CPG is part of that family, but it is a derivative or a subsidiary or a sister company. I'll let you do a better job explaining what it is.
Yeah, so we're actually two completely different companies, but with the same
IP
owners.
Okay.
The same majority owners. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And you came up with a company.
Yeah.
To leverage the name.
So.
Like, tell me how it works.
Yeah. So Carp Riley owns Sprinkles Cupcakes.
Okay.
Carp Riley came to me and they're like, hey, we have this idea on a piece of paper. We want to make cupcake flavored chocolate, right? Let's start Sprinkles CPG. So a whole new business, right?
Yep.
And we started Sprinkles CPG.
Sure.
With Carp Riley being the lead partner. And I spun up the idea for them. So
would the cupcake flavor be the Sprinkles cupcake flavor?
Yes. So all of the chocolates are based off of a Sprinkles cupcake.
And of course, Ashley, we have some for me to try next time.
I'm terrible for not bringing some,
and some Spudsies.
Okay, I'm going to send you a big package.
I mean, thank you.
My husband tells me this all the time. He's like, why don't you bring product in your car? But the chocolate melts. So I used to do that, so I don't, but it is cold.
I'm going to send you a Yeti. I'm going to send you a Yeti.
I'm sending you a package.
And you're going to bring me chocolate next time we hang out.
I'm sending you a package.
Sprinkles flavored cupcake chocolate.
Yeah.
Yum.
Yeah. It's pretty delicious. And we make these things called cupcake cups. So think of like a peanut butter cup, but instead of peanut butter inside, it's cupcake frosting. Yeah. So we have those like a birthday cake, a red velvet, a double chocolate, and those are in Target and Walmart nationwide. Soon to be everywhere.
So I can just go get one.
Yeah.
I don't need to wait.
Yeah.
But now, are you sitting there with your chef hat on, R&Ding these things? Do you have, no, I have an idea. I'm going to find some talent, because I get asked this question a lot. I do a lot of things and I don't know how to do any of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying you're as incapable at actually doing things as I am. I'm just asking, are you in the kitchen creating this?
I mean, I did do that with Buff Bake and I could do that, but no, I don't do that.
Okay. So are you coming up with the idea and you're like, oh, what if we, and do you eat a lot of cupcakes?
No.
To have to do the, no?
I'll taste test them, but I'm not. I mean, I try to watch what I eat.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not a cupcake eater.
Yeah.
I will.
Except for Sprinkles.
I will eat a bite of chocolate and then throw the rest in the trash, is what I do.
Yeah. You know, I've been guilty of when I used to be very strict on what I consume, but I would have that sweet tooth. I would bite it, chew it, spit it out. Kind of like that movie Dog. You ever seen that movie Dogma with Matt Damon? They're like angels and they can't drink alcohol, but he loves the taste. So he takes a sip and spits it out because he can't swallow it because he's an angel.
Oh, yeah, that's hilarious.
So I learned to.
That's commitment right there.
Yeah.
Damn, good for you.
You still get the flavor.
I'll take one swallow and then I'll throw it out.
Well, was it? I didn't inhale. Was the old political thing. I took a puff, but I didn't inhale. I took a bite, but I didn't swallow. So the idea behind Sprinkles CPG, though, is not just, is it going to be live and breathe with the chocolates, or is there going to be, I mean, you don't have to share anything.
With the cupcakes?
Yeah, but the cupcake flavored chocolates, but where does the product, because it's CPG, where does the product go? Will it be eventually in...
Everywhere. So it's in Target and Walmart now. We're getting ready to launch in Kroger nationwide, Safeway nationwide, and Costco.
Okay.
So
how many SKUs?
3 to 6 SKUs.
Okay.
Yeah, like Walmart is probably they were our launch partner. So we launched with 6 SKUs with them. Target has 3 SKUs. Most stores have 3 to 4 SKUs.
And you just you just left in 2024 of October. So I mean, 3 months old?
I worked on Sprinkles while I was doing Spudsy for about a year.
Okay.
Yeah. So I found the manufacturer. And then to your question earlier, no, I didn't make the chocolate. Like I found the manufacturer. And then I found an R&D partner or a research and development partner who made the recipes for us. And then you do like a bunch of back and forth trial and error and you land on the product and then the manufacturer makes the product. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how that came to life. But yeah, idea on paper, started with the chocolate bar and then I created the cupcake cup because again, I feel like innovation wins. I wanted something different. I didn't want to just be a chocolate bar.
Yep.
So created the cupcake cup and then, we launched the brand in April of 2024. So not even a year, into 4,000 Walmarts and then June, 2,000 Targets. And then next year, we're going to launch into 1,800 Kroger's and Costco and Albertsons and Whole Foods and everywhere else.
You're going to kill a lot of people's diets because they sound delicious.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to pick your brain on CPG after because I think you have forgotten more about CPG than most of us will ever learn. But what was the real attraction to CPG of all the things? I mean, because you grew up in restaurants, so you're actually in bars.
Yeah.
So you grew up actually in the place where the person may consume it, and then you went to staying in food and bev. I'm gonna speak industry terms, food and bev. You went to the CPG side, right? And so, what is there something specifically about that vertical that you love more or draws you to it?
So I didn't know that I loved it. I don't know how it worked with you. It kind of just like fell in my lap. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the reason why I got into it with my first brand, going from the meal prep company to my first brand, Buff Bake, is I could make Buff Bake in my kitchen. Like I made all of those things. So it was just an easy business to start because I was able to make them on my own and sell them at farmers markets and then turn it into a business. So it kind of just organically happened for me. Sure.
Would you say for the CPG companies, business leaders, entrepreneurs, founders that are listening, what would you say is the most important skill the founder or the leader of a CPG brand has to have? Is it sales and marketing? Is it relationships? Is it operational expertise? Is it SOPs?
I would say sales and marketing. Yeah. I would say sales and marketing because at the end of the day, these people you're selling the product to, they believe in you, you know? Like I there's brokers, right? Middlemen you can work with to help you get into these retailers. But every single brand that I've been in, like I physically walked into the door and met with all of these buyers and sold them on my product because who's going to do it better than the founder of the company? Sure. Like no one has more passion than you. So I feel like having a strong like sales at least background is huge. Yeah. Because everything else you can hire. You can hire somebody to manage your operations. You can hire, but like having like the passion and the fire is like everything.
Yeah, I mean, you just hit on a belief I've figured out with knowing all very successful entrepreneurs. If you really want to start a company, you either, in my opinion, have to have a very technical aptitude because you're going to create the next Facebook, so you're Mark Zuckerberg and you're able to code and create this thing, or you have to have an incredible gift in the sales arena because, to your point, selling your vision to investors or the consumer, selling your product or your service, selling the whole thing is really hard to do if you're not the one who's going to own it.
Well, and to your point earlier, I mean, you pretty much said this is like people invest in people. Like if people aren't going to invest in you and your idea, then like what? You have to be able to sell. Sure. You have to be able to sell your idea.
So imagine young Jeff, many years ago, little Jeff, we'll say 18, and I come to Ashley and I'm saying, Ashley, I have this idea for acai blank, protein acai cookie. Okay. No one steal that. That's Jeff's idea. And I know nothing about CPG, and I have a little bit of money, and I'm in my kitchen and I'm concocting it like you did. Where would you tell me to deploy my capital to start? Is it get the best branding possible because it's going to sit on the shelf and it has to sell itself when I'm not there? Is it dump it all into the product itself and don't worry about the packaging? Like that first step, if you had to do it again, like where and how would you take that first step? Yeah. Or where would you focus, I guess I would say?
Yeah. So I always say two things. It has to look good. Okay. It has to look good. Like it has to pop off the freaking shelf because like you said, like you're not going to be there to sell it. And it has to taste good. If you create a product that tastes like shit, no one's ever going to buy it again. So 10 out of 10 product. So creating the product and then creating the branding. Like those are two of the most important things. And then figuring out, are you going to make it yourself, self-manufacture it, or are you going to find a partner to do that for you and partner with a co-packer? Those are like the beginning stages. So like branding, name, trademark, recipe, partner, who's making it.
Are you good at branding and mark? Like, are you a creative in that sense?
I am. I would say I am a creative. So branding, marketing, sales, idea is like my strong suit. Finance, not so much. Sure. But I will say I'm proud of myself because Carp Riley actually has pushed me to get better at this. Like when I started Spudsy in 2018, I didn't even know how to read a P&L. And now I'm like, okay, I can build a full bottoms up plan and I can do my P&L and I get it now.
It's important.
Yeah, it is important. I mean, it actually is everything. Like managing your trade spend and your marketing and where's the dollars going, right? You have to know it, but I think it's okay to not know it from day one. Yes. And I think it's okay to not know everything from day one. Like I feel like where a lot of people get hung up is like they just need to start. They just need to start. And like the most important thing is like start selling. Start selling and then get some retailers, and then everything else is going to fall into place. The right people are going to fall into place. Like you just have to start.
But now I'm going to play that out. I'm going to be a little devil's advocate. Okay, so I'm going to start, Ashley. I'm ready to roll.
Yep.
But because I don't have your buying power, my cost to make this thing, and I have to sell it against all these big players that can charge $1 for their chocolate, but it costs me $3 to make it because I'm making it in my kitchen. How do I solve that?
You partner. This is where I would say partnering with a manufacturer could be beneficial because they order in bulk and they're not just producing your product, they're producing several other products, so they could help with that.
Sure.
And I mean, it depends on your ingredients. Like you need to weigh out what your competitors are being priced at, and you need to make sure you're creating a product that is going to sell at the right retail price when it hits the market.
So as you're seeing, I'm basically getting a private one-on-one consulting masterclass with Ashley, but she actually is creating a new product.
I am.
That will provide way more information and a roadmap for success for the CPG dreamers and founders and people who are doing.
Yes.
And that is called?
Shelf Made.
Shelf Made. And so what I love about Shelf Made is, and because I was trying to understand it before the show, like we were just chatting, because I wanted to get to know what you were working on, and it's just about to launch. And everything I said, well, is it like this? And you're like, yes, and.
Yeah.
Yes, and. And so I love that you have taken these different areas, and I'm going to tee it up, and then you're going to knock all the pins down, because we're a good team.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Because I said,
are we going to have the Jeff and Ashley podcast soon?
It's already being worked on. We're doing it. But we're going to come up with a cooler name.
Love it.
Yes. AJ takes over the world.
Oh, I love it.
AJ takes over the world.
The AJ show.
The AJ show.
I love it.
Yes. Something. We'll come up with something cool. But I kept saying, like, is it a mastermind or masterclass? Yes, but it also does. Is it consulting? Yes, but is it introductions? Yes, but is it a community? Is it, and you kept saying yes, which is exciting because I feel like we got to this point where all of these mini micro niche communities have niched down so far that even if you get the value, you have to go somewhere else. And it sounds like Shelf Made might be a environment where I can come in and actually have access to what I really need and not have to now go find something else that it doesn't provide to get me where I need to go to round out the 360 degrees of knowledge and information in the industry. And so that's what I learned from you thus far.
Yeah, you did a pretty good job there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Am I hired?
Yeah. I love it. Okay, so I created Shelf Made because one, there's nothing out there that teaches you A to Z how to launch a product, right? How to find a manufacturer, how to get into retail, how to build a promotional calendar, all of these things. Like these emerging founders who haven't done it before, who were me at my Buff Bake stage, they don't know what to do, they don't know where to go, right? So what Shelf Made is one, it's a community that you live in an ecosystem. Like I envision people going into this platform on the daily. And what lives inside of the platform is a group chat area where you can chat about any topic. And when I say chat, I mean ask a question and get a legit answer from an expert. Because I feel it's not just like a chat where fluffy people are going to answer something that don't know what they're talking about. There's multiple experts that live inside of the community that have 10 plus years in the CPG space. And then also your peers who you can learn from. There's masterminds that you could take, like once a quarter we do masterminds. There's templates that you can download. So promotional templates, trade spin templates, PO trackers, spec sheets, how to build a sales deck, how to build an investor deck with how-to videos of how to do all of these things. Because again, people don't know how to do those things. Like I've talked to 70 emerging brands over the last 30 days, and they're like, what's a sales deck? And in order to email a buyer to get into a store, you need to have a sales deck. Then there's all these self-paced courses that you could take, like how to build out a sales and marketing plan or how to find a manufacturer. I think a lot of people don't realize that in order to get into, let's say, Whole Foods, you don't just ship your product to Whole Foods, you go through a distributor. And most of those distributors are, the big food and beverage ones are Unify and KeHE. So how to get into Unify and KeHE, if you live in Texas, how do I start selling in Texas and then strategically sell across the country? Because another big lesson that I learned back to Buff Bake, this is a lesson actually that I forgot about, is I didn't understand the importance of like diving deep in retailers. I was just like, I want to be in every store everywhere. And you get on the shelf and your product doesn't sell because you're in a grocery store with 40,000 other doors.
And no sell through, no rebuy.
Exactly. So just teaching
I learned that at Shelf Made.
teaching young founders all of these things. And then most importantly, there's like 10 plus group consulting calls a month with like industry experts, sales, marketing, finance, distribution, where you can get on a call with them and ask a question and get your questions answered. So yeah, annual subscription. And I literally think it is, I wish I would have had it. And it's A to Z, everything you need to know in the food and beverage industry.
And now I'm gonna put a request in.
Okay.
A new area for Shelf Made in the future should be for investors. Because if you're grooming the future CPG rock stars of America and the world, one thing they need is capital. And like, I would love access to people who are learning and doing it the right way and visibility. So when they're ready for money,
yeah,
investors would love to be part
so
of it.
Shelf Made 2.0 is a fund. Or I'm going to raise like probably $10 to $15 million. And I mean, I'll see the brands that have the most potential. And hopefully those are the ones that will secure some kind of investment.
That's right. Because when I asked if it's an
You
incubator,
want to invest?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Love it. Got
Because
my first investor.
Well, because it has an incubation model.
Yep.
It has an education model. It has a solve my. I mean, because when I've launched under the Everbowl flag and our Unevolved Products flag, a couple attempts at what would fall under CPG, not with the intention of CPG, but you would classify it as I'm competing. And we've been in Sprouts. I didn't understand the word slot. I was like, slotting fees.
Yep.
The what now?
If you had Shelf Made, you would have known that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, even if you're not thinking of yourself as a CPG brand, which I don't, I have products. I have an Everwitch, right? We innovated and created.
What's that?
We reinvented the ice cream cookie sandwich. So we made
I
it
love
vegan,
that.
dairy-free, soy-free, nut-free. It's available in all Everbowl stores. People who have them you can't eat. It's like a Lay's potato chip. You can't just have one.
I love it.
You just keep eating it. And we use our base and we use, and it's packaged and it's beautiful. But we just sell them in our stores because I'm not.
We need to get those into retail.
I know. I'm a shelf. That's what I'm saying.
your
Even
girl.
I could be a participant and go through parts of Shelf Made because
You can get Shelf Made VIP status.
I want to pay for it. I have a rule on that. I don't want free. I'll take extra, but I don't want free.
Okay, I'll hook you up.
Yes, you can help me move for free. But
No, but I mean, that's like an innovative product. Is
Yes.
anyone doing that?
me. You can have one with me.
I know, but is anyone else in the market doing that?
Nope. Yeah. Oh, we innovate.
Let's get 'em
we
out-
just have
let's get
later
'em out
bowls.
there.
We had later bowls. We were on QVC, 17 airings, all sellouts. And then it dies because I didn't have access to Shelf Made. That's the point I'm making is I'm focused on my arena.
Yeah.
CPG was so many things I didn't know, right? There were so many challenges and obstacles. I just didn't have the bandwidth
Yeah.
to take my eye off my prize. But if I could have hired somebody at my company and said, for the next 90
To do
days,
Everbowl
I just
CPG.
want you to live and breathe Shelf Made, and I want you to go through the entirety of this process and take our products and come back with a strategic roadmap for us to launch this because I have the capital and I have the product.
That's why I created it. Yeah,
That's
it
why.
literally teaches you everything.
Yes. That's what
Everything.
that's what I'm sitting here learning.
Yeah.
And I see so many use cases outside of the person who goes, well, I'm a restaurant. But you know what? Restaurants have sauces. You go into the grocery store and barbecue restaurants have their sauces all over the shelf.
Yep.
You go into the frozen section, there's Cinnabon in a box. So we all have to realize that if you're in food and bev, you
Yeah.
can have a CPG arm.
Look at Sprinkles.
Look at Sprinkles. They're
Yeah.
in airports.
Look at Sprinkles.
In vending machines.
I know.
Very innovative.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. I really am excited for you and Shelf Made and what it is offering because I am unaware of a community that offers, like I said, all of those opportunities inside of one. And it has to drive the more people. It's one of those things. It's like any community. The more people who join the community,
Yeah.
it strengthens the whole community.
For sure.
Right? Because partnerships could be, I mean, you may meet somebody or I may meet somebody while I'm participating and we go spin off AJ's podcast.
Yeah.
Right? You never know where those things happen.
I love it. Yeah.
I love it. I love those kinds of things. And
No, it's true though. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like people are just meant to come together and you just meet them along the way and it organically happens.
So being that this is your first foray, I would guess, into building a community type environment, why now? What made you outside? I mean, yes, you needed it, but
Yeah.
you need it in 10 years too. What made you say today, now's the time?
I think, I mean, Sprinkles will be my last brand that I build.
Yeah, sure. I've said that a few times.
No, it really will though.
Sure.
You know how it is.
I don't believe you. I hear you.
We'll see.
I believe you believe that.
I mean, here I am starting another company, Shelf-Made. But
I believe you believe that.
Yeah, no, I really believe in Sprinkles. Like, so Sprinkles will be my last, I believe, CPG brand, right? And then I do think I'm like, my next thing is like, I do want to help these emerging founders. Like, that's what I'm passionate about. Is it's not about me anymore and what I'm building. It's about helping other people build what they're trying to build, like with all of the knowledge that I've learned. And the fund piece of it does interest me because I do want to invest in these young founders that I believe in. And I, just like you, probably believe that I see things, you know, you see the magic. I can spot that. And I do feel like that's like one of my strengths, and having all of these people in my ecosystem, I think it will make it easy to spot where it's just a natural thing to do. So Shelf-Made 2.0 fund.
Yes. I mean, I agree. And I think I get asked sometimes from friends, it's like, because I say that all the time. It's like, I have a lot of enjoyment now helping aspiring entrepreneurs and business owners be successful. Like, okay, but that sounds very nice, but why? You know, because that wasn't me as a kid. Like, oh, I can't wait to help all these people. It was all about, I was selfish. It was all about me.
Same.
The truth is, like I was saying, I can't do this forever. I can't be in the seat running the companies of all the ideas that are out there. But when you invest and help people, you get a front row seat and you get to go in the car. So if I am an investor in your company, I get to be part of that journey. I get to drop my 2 cents in from my experience. If I can add value, great. And then if I can get a return on my investment, there's a financial, I get to chase my money by helping you.
Yeah.
And then I also get the enjoyment of the relationships. And it is fun watching people succeed on your team. It is fun as a fan of the Lakers, watching the Lakers win. I have no incentive other than I'm a fan.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I'm not afraid to admit that either. Like it was all about me. Selfish, make money, that's all I care about. But like I said, with age, like that's completely changed. Like I do get enjoyment in helping other people. I notice like I'm most fulfilled in my day. One, like when I'm with my kids, but two, when I get off a call with a founder who has like $10,000 in revenue and they're like, what do I do next? And I can like give them 20 minutes advice and fucking blow their mind. Like, I'm so stoked hanging up that call versus like, what are our velocities in Target today? What are our velocities? Like, how do we get them up? What do we do? You know, like, I think I'm just over putting out those fires and like figuring out all those things. And I'm ready to like help others do that because that fills my cup more now than everything else I just said.
I'm there. And I can tell you, I tried the retirement thing at 32. I don't trust you.
Oh, I'll never retire.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. So you'll have an idea because you'll be sitting doing something, working with some founder, and what about this? And then an idea is gonna pop in your head, and it may be under the Sprinkles community, family, but I think you're gonna keep creating stuff. It leaches out of your creativity. It flies out of you.
I'll always be doing something.
Yes, I think you'll always be creating.
Yeah,
so that's why I said I think you believe that this is your last product. I don't know.
My favorite phase is the building phase. Like, I'm a builder. I love just like, I'll fucking spin something up in like 6 months. Like, I will figure it out.
Yes.
So, and that's like, it really is like a high for me. That's like what I'm most excited about. I always say I'm the 0 to 10 million girl. Like, I'll get us to 0 to 10 million. Like, but the 10 to 20, it's not fun for me. Because that's like when it becomes more like data driven and financial and less creativity, like
more process and optimization.
Exactly.
And move this little bit, but
and I know that's not me, and I'm fine with that not being me. But 0 to 10 million, I'm your girl.
And I love that you just pointed that out because I stress that so often, and I'm so glad to hear you say that. So often people fall in love with the idea that they have to be the quarterback of the company forever. And some people aren't meant to start the company, like we talked about at the beginning.
Yeah.
But some people are meant to come in and take over at 10 million and be the entrepreneurial CEO of your company from 10 to 50 million or 100 million.
I can't wait to pass the baton.
I'm with it.
I will. That's not me. It's not the person that I am. And I don't think you need to know everything too. I feel like that's another thing that young entrepreneurs think is like, I have to be good at everything and I'm the best and I have this ego. Like, and it's like, you don't. if you don't know, you don't know, and find somebody good who knows how to do that job and put them in that place.
That's right.
Because you don't need to know everything.
Gosh, it's like talking to myself here. It's crazy. Because I have the same view. I have a president who runs Everbowl. I have a president who runs WeBuild because it has outgrown I am no longer the best person to run it.
Yeah.
When you are not the best person to do the job you're doing at your company or on your team, you should fire yourself, put someone else there, and do something else to contribute.
Yeah. But I mean, that's hard for a lot of people to do.
It is, because it's a little bit scary at first.
Yep.
It makes you potentially have an ego hit to say, well, wait, it's going to go public and I won't be the CEO? Great. Mm-hmm. That means you won. You're the founder. You started the thing.
Exactly.
That's your legacy.
Yeah.
Right? If Spudsy becomes the number one product in the world, you'll forever be the founder of it.
Yeah.
Ronald McDonald, or not really Ronald McDonald. He's not really a real character, but I can't think of actual guys' names from the movie. The two brothers.
Oh, I know. That's a really good movie. Founder?
Yeah, the Founder, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah. But anyway, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Point is, I think that is so important as you navigate the craziness of entrepreneurship, that if you're going down this road, if you commit to this lifestyle, which is
a fucking roller coaster.
It is, isn't it? It's unbelievable. But it's so exciting.
It is.
And heartbreaking and so tough and rewarding.
I couldn't imagine doing anything else though.
Everything else is just boring.
Yeah, I thrive in chaos. Mm-hmm. So I love.
You have to thrive in chaos.
I love it.
And if that becomes too overwhelming, you should not be in the chair.
No. Like
it's being a surgeon.
It takes thick skin.
Yeah.
It does. Like you gotta be able to roll with the punches and take a no.
Everything is your fault.
Yep.
100% of the time.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
COVID?
Your fault.
Somehow your fault. Yeah. Stores closed? Your fault. Customer unhappy? Your fault. Yep. Doesn't matter. Your fault. Which is okay.
For sure.
Right? Extreme ownership.
Yeah.
Accountability. And it's fine. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that's a good thing, because it strengthens you to become better.
Yep.
And it gives you the creative freedom to chart whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, I love obviously I have a show about it. This is my passion is understanding what makes successful people successful, and it's been evident to me, and I'm sure the audience too. Like through this conversation, it's like, okay, Ashley's figured it out. I mean, you know who you are, right? Like you said, I'm a 0 to 10 million girl. I'm a creative. I can get us going. I can figure it out. I see the ideas. I can build the relationships. I'll sell and market this, and I can do all those things. And when it gets past that, I know how to pass it. I mean, number one, as an investor, you want to hear that.
Yeah.
I don't have to convince you to fire yourself because you're holding us back at some point.
Yeah.
Right? You understand that you don't need to know everything and where you're weak. I'm not as great in finance. Awesome. So we know where you're going to focus on hiring talent.
Yeah.
Because if you hired me to work at your company, because we get along and we have similar mindset, as great as I think I am, we're duplicative. Right? You and me would do the same job.
Yeah.
As much as it'd be fun to hang. Yeah. And I think people make that mistake. We hire people we like because we like them because they're similar. Yeah. Instead of realizing, no, I'm going to hire my weaknesses, and they may have a differing opinion, and a financial mind is going to question you. Like, wait, Ashley, I know you think that. Yeah. But we could spend half that amount on branding, and we're not yet in the stores. And you're like, nope. How it looks is so damn important, and that battle is good internally. Well,
and I think that is a good point. And I think when you're looking for a partner, because a lot of people that I talk to, they don't want to start their company alone. And I mean, it's funner to start a brand with a partner. But if you start with a partner, make sure your strengths are their weaknesses and vice versa. So you're not doing the same thing.
That's right. No, exactly. And you have that self-awareness. Maybe you didn't when you were 18. I didn't for sure, but you do. And that's an attribute of people who are successful. They realize what they need to work on, where they need help, and what they're great at. They spend more time in their brilliance, less time in their inefficiencies, and they solve that by bringing world-class people to do that, like a Carpelli. Then you mentioned work ethic. You can't teach that.
It's everything.
You can't teach it.
It truly is everything.
And I try to explain it to my daughter. She's 19, and she's like, maybe I want to get into that. And right now, my daughter, I don't think my 19-year-old should not be in entrepreneurship. Not because she couldn't be badass if she did. She doesn't yet realize that she listens to music in the car, and I'm thinking about my businesses in the car. And she's in the shower singing, and I'm in the shower processing how I'm going to do this strategic move.
I get my best ideas in the shower.
Of course. And my brain never turns off on what I'm doing. And while it drains some of my experiences with humans in relationship moments, get present, which I'm not always, it gives me a leg up, because while I am sitting at dinner with people and I'm in my mind working on something, I'm still working on something. So I am putting in the reps where others aren't, which even if you're better than me, I'm just putting in more reps. It's a matter of work.
Well, that's why I said I like same. I believe it's either instilled in you or it's not. And I mean, everything you just said is me every single day.
Yep. I can see it.
Yeah.
I feel it. Like I said, it's that's why I'm saying, it'd be awesome. I mean, me and you should do something fun.
Yeah.
But more at the investor level, because I think we'd be like, wait, we both aren't very good at the same thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's important, because I have made that mistake, and I see a lot of people make that mistake. Or they're like, oh, I interviewed this incredibly gifted salesperson, but they're not in sales. And they're like, I kind of felt salesy. Well, I hope so. There's sales. If they're not good in sales, like, you got to realize that, how do you hire those people? How do you accept differing opinions in the room? And so, again, I think that if you haven't learned all of these attributes, if you're not doing a self-awareness yourself and saying, okay, wait, where do I need to work? Because Ashley, she's demonstrated that you don't need a college degree. You don't need a graduate degree. You don't need to come from this. You can move to a brand new city that you didn't grow up in without all those things, and just through grit and hard work and determination and passion and inspiration, accomplish it without knowing what you're doing at the time. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, let's write a book. The Ashley,
Podcast,
the Ashley story.
book. What else are we doing here? We're starting a fund.
You know, that's the problem. We're going to hang out together. We're going to be inundated with stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think, I can't wait to try the chocolate, which you were going to bring me. And
I will send you a big package.
I'm going to go to Target.
You have my word. I'll send you a big package.
Fine, I want to pay
It'll be
for
here
it.
tomorrow.
I'm going to pay for it.
I'm going to text my girl.
Fine. I'm going to pay you. So you can give me a bit.
You're not going to pay me for a package.
I am.
Okay.
I have a rule.
Well, there's no way for you to pay me unless you want to give me cash for it right here.
Do you have Venmo?
Yeah.
Then I can pay. All right, Venmo.
I'm not letting you Venmo me.
You are. You're just going to be like, what the hell? You're going to try to send it back. I'm going to block you.
We send all of our friends product. You're receiving product.
That's fine. But I want to be a customer.
Okay. Well, you can go buy it at Target on your own time, but I'm sending you a free package.
That's fine.
Deal.
For everyone you send me, I'm going to buy 2 at Target.
Okay.
So how many do you want? I'm going to go broke at Target, aren't I? I'm going to be swimming in Willy Wonka style chocolate factory. But before we wrap up, we do this fun thing called rapid fire.
Okay.
So you're going to stare into camera 1.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you 3 questions.
Okay.
You just give me your quick answer. Obviously like 30 seconds-ish, but not too much thought process. Like first instance.
Hit me, Jeff. Let's do it.
Talk to them, though.
Okay.
All right. What was the first entrepreneurial lesson you learned growing up?
Oh, God. I don't like these rapid fires.
Now it's meant to be easy.
I mean, that it's hard. It's like not easy. You're going to fail.
Describe entrepreneurship in 1 word.
Roller coaster.
Looking back, what are you most proud of your entrepreneurial journey?
My persistence and determination to bring things to life and stay persistent and see it through to the finish line.
And now this isn't rapid fire, but I want to end on one more question I just have to ask. As a mom of 2 girls, I'm a dad of 2 girls, do you want your daughters to be entrepreneurs?
I want my daughters to be whatever they want to be.
Okay.
But ideally entrepreneurs.
Okay. All right. That's an interesting answer. Because I would prefer my daughters not be entrepreneurs.
I want, I don't know. They could be whatever they want to be. Of course. But,
for sure. But I hope they fall in love with something that gives them better life balance. Maybe because, like you said, I'm never satisfied and there's a lot of things I don't.
That's an interesting perspective, actually.
Yeah. I'd rather them find love in something that they can.
I don't know. I think it's different with a mom.
Yeah, fair. Well, that's why I'm asking.
Raising the kid. Because, I want them to be like these badass little, I don't know.
Well, I mean, they're getting the inspiration from mom. And dad, who we didn't really get to talk to, and I haven't had the privilege of meeting, is also an entrepreneur. So you're getting, your family just is creating, I mean, I can't, your kids are going to be.
Whatever they want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will support.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, anything else that you want to mention that we didn't cover that obviously I think, my audience got to know you today, and, as you're building your personal brand, and everyone should definitely get engaged with what you're doing because you're finally exposing yourself publicly from the personal side. And I mean, there's so much that you're going to teach and expose to.
I've been such a behind the scenes person my whole career that I really came out of the closet in October and started putting myself out there. But yeah, I mean, my Instagram is I am Ashley Rogers. Sprinkles chocolate is available in Target and Walmart, and
not Targets near me though.
Okay, Jeff sold out Targets in Carlsbad area. Target, Walmart, Kroger, Costco, Safeway soon. And Shelf Made is launching February 12th. And
Shelf Made. So Shelf Made. Really quick. So I go to shelfmade.com.
Shelfmadecpg.com.
Shelfmadecpg.com.
Coming soon.
Coming soon, but I'm going to go there February 13th.
Yeah, or you just follow I am Ashley Rogers on Instagram, and I'll tell you when to go there.
Okay. And then being that at day one, will it have, sometimes we have MVPs, minimum viable platform product. Will the community have all of the things that we talked about day one?
Day one. The community is already built. It's just the website getting finalized now.
I mean,
yeah.
I love that too.
Ready to go.
You heard it here. I am Ashley Rogers. I'm not, but that's her Instagram. But honestly, this is someone you need to follow. You know, like she said, she's just coming out to the world now. You had to know somebody to know her before, but now that she's public, I learned a ton right now. I'm fired up. We just started 3 companies together. I'm going to get engaged with Shelf Made. I'm going to be eating some chocolate, even though I'm a health food nut. I can't not try. I mean, I have a sweet tooth.
Remember, you don't swallow.
No, I will.
You don't swallow.
I do now. I didn't then.
Okay.
I don't like the way that sounds. We need to have context to that. Andrew's going to cut that, and I'm going to be on some TikTok reel, you know? But, or at least it's till it's gone. But anyway, I really appreciate you coming. I mean, I'm really excited to continue to build our friendship and relationship. You came down to my studio here in Carlsbad, so thank you for that, and shared your journey, your story, and all of some nuggets with the world that, you know, you don't have to do this. You don't get paid to do this.
Yeah.
You know, this is showing who you are, and the fact that you do pour yourself into others and help bring other people up because people did that for you. And I think the fraternity of entrepreneurs and sorority, whatever, I don't want to genderize it, but whatever the term is, that, you know, it is a community of us. And none of us are sitting where we are because of just on our own merit. We had help along the way, and by giving it back, we're going to build the future entrepreneurs successfully. And I want to thank you for that as a participant. And I just can't wait to see what you do next. And I'm available for anything you need. And I'm sure our community would love to get to know you more. So thank you for opening yourself up and exposing yourself out there. You know, not sitting behind the shadows, because you're too much of a badass. And we do need more absolute badass founder, CEO women taking the forefront, showing that it is not just a gender thing, that everybody is capable. And for my daughter's sake, they need more role models like you, so thank you.
Of course. Thank you. You're the best. Thank you for having me.
Hey everyone. First, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. And if you guys haven't heard about my new book, Relationship Bank Account, click the link in the show notes or search the title on Amazon. This book is packed with all my secrets to success in both relationships and life. Make sure to pick up a copy, and if the book helps you on your journey, let us know by leaving a review. I appreciate all of you and can't wait to see you on the next one.